Hello there. Let's have a talk today on day 24 of this 30-day series called The Businesswoman Who Creates Time about the difference between bravery and the frequency that we operate at when we're there and fear and the frequency that we're operating at when we're stuck there. I look back, as we quite often do around this New Year period, and look at the things that we did in the last 12 months. But things have been popping up for me throughout different parts of the day, going right back 10 years, and decisions that I made 10 years ago to do things that still have an effect on me today. And when you're doing the scary thing at the time, you don't obviously have the full understanding of the compounding effect of having done that thing, even though you were scared. But if I look at some of the things that I was doing in 2015 for the very first time, I think 2015, Rachel would have been completely astounded if she knew what 2026 Rachel is able to do because of the things that 2015 Rachel did scared. So, what I'm talking about are those conversations that you have, those actions that you need to take, those decisions that you need to make, and you need to do them scared, but you do them anyway. That's bravery. So there is no bravery without fear, first of all. So let's acknowledge that. The step between fear and bravery is called courage. So the feeling of fear, the presence of fear, lets us know that courage is required if we're going to move forward in the business sense or the life sense. Bravery is something we determine has occurred only when we're looking at it in retrospect. So, brave people operate at a different frequency than those who felt the fear but didn't act on it, didn't move, they stayed stuck. Consider this for a moment in the context of the people in your life, whether that's your inner circle, your outer circle, family members, extended family, team members, business colleagues, peers that you have. The ones that seemingly do the scary stuff to achieve a result that you either admire or maybe are a little bit jealous of in the first instance, they did something that was scary, feeling the fear. They did it anyway. And as a result of that, they vibe at a different level. The people in your circle, outside of your circle, family, business peers, whatever, that don't move forward, that stay stuck, that might talk a lot about the thing that they want to do or they say they're doing, but in reality, the fear, feeling scared, overwhelmed them and they've done nothing. They're vibing at a different level. Those people often are loud but make no progress. Have a lot of highlight reels, but don't make any progress. The ones who do things scared and achieve the results that you recognize might be something you want one day, or might not be exactly what you want, but you recognize that something was overcome there in order for that result to be achieved, often aren't the loudest ones, but they have a quiet confidence that is what constantly moves them forward when fear is present anyway. So for me, I've always had a relationship with fear that once I recognize it's there, usually tells me the thing I'm afraid of is exactly what I need to do. Fear means go for me. And I've been saying that over and over again, especially for the last 10 years when I actually worked out what fear meant to me. So, when you recognize that you're afraid of doing something in business or you're afraid of having a conversation in your personal life, consider if the fear is going to stop you or you're going to use it just as the trigger to recognize, okay, courage is going to be required here if I'm going to achieve that outcome. Can I do it scared? Most of the time, yes, you can. I'm not talking about life-threatening situations, completely different situation. Not talking about that at all. But where you recognize you're coming up against something in business, you've not done it before, you're uncertain of the outcome, you're looking for 50,000 pieces of evidence. Do you really need that much evidence? Or can you just proceed and do it scared? I'm the evidence you can do it scared. I went on stage in 2015 in front of an audience that had never seen me before, male dominant, unknown in the industry. And I went on stage for an hour and talked to them about how they could raise their price and not lose customers. And I look back on that video because for some reason back then I had the sense to pay a videographer to film it for me so I could turn it into content. But I look back on that video and I go, oh my gosh, she was so scared. And she really was. And you can tell in the tone of my voice that I was scared. But there was something I did that day that taught me a lesson that I have never forgotten. Because I did it scared, we live the life we do today. It all started there. So I wonder what your relationship with fear has been up until this point, and if you can recognize that when you feel fear in the business sense or when you're coming up against a conversation that you know you need to have, are you letting it paralyze you? Or is it possible you can flip the frame on it and recognize, okay, this is just saying this is something important. If I just use 10 seconds of courage, can I move forward and do the thing? I bet you can because I've done it a million times. And I show up here and I show up in other places on social media and I send out emails to my database sharing my experiences because for women in business, we can't be what we can't see. So I make myself visible and share my experience so you understand it can be done. If you're new here on the channel, please subscribe. It's new as well. And please like this video so you can help it go far and wide. Have a great day. See you tomorrow for day 25.